Oh, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another. What the? Manny always when we put the countdown on. This is when Manny does his outfit changes. Anyway, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the WrestlePurists Podcast, episode 78, hosted by myself, Charlie, Joe Hulbert, and what appears to be Darth Hooper. First things first, though, please like, subscribe, super chat. But also, first things first, Manny, Darth Hooper, whoever this gimmick is, explain yourself.
Remove his mask.
So where's the Darth Hooper in all this?
It's actually Star Wars Day.
Oh, of course.
Oh, okay.
That's good. That's very good, man. That's very good. Stuff, mate. Sorry, deserve a Manny the Hooper. Yeah, Star Wars.
Pop culture icon, Manny the Hooper.
Yeah, man. Let's be fair, he's more plugged in than you or I, Monty. So, I mean, fair play to the man.
Met Gala live tweeting.
With the Met Gala,
yeah, Met Gala, that was pretty special. Tremendous.
I told you, that's my WrestleMania.
Anyway, moving on. Joe, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I always hate following Manny on those things, but I'm good.
Oh, I do it on purpose.
Oh, no, I've been on a lot this week, and I enjoyed Dynamite a lot, so I'm excited to get into some of those individual pieces of the show as we go here. But always a good time. Back on the flagship, always a good payday. So fired up, brother. Fired up. How are you, Monty?
Yeah, not too bad. You know me, same old answer, you know. Charlie, of course, best till last, you know. Of course, as we was just calling her, the voice of British AEW fandom during the AEW All-In pre-sale. You got your tickets, Charlie. You know, first time talking to you since the pre-sale. How you doing?
Doing good. It's been a long day. Had to unplug from social media for a bit to get some uni work done, but back on the flagship, ready to talk about some wrestling and take some victory laps about these all-in sales, because people tried to tell me I was wrong about the numbers I was saying, and they tried to tell me it wasn't a big enough announcement, but here we are, 50k sales in, and they've not even started General yet, so I take my apologies in the form of super chats.
Yeah, man, get the super chats.
Folks, that's a good idea.
Get the super chats in. We always appreciate it. And get the questions in. Get the many thanks in to Charlie. You know,
I was with the victory lap before, but now we're talking super chat apologies, folks. I think you got some answering to do, folks. Now you know.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Let's jump into it, man. So as Charlie mentioned, General Sale hasn't actually even started yet for AEW All In at Wembley Stadium. The pre-sale has been going on like the past 2 days, I think, and we are up to 50,000 tickets according to Mr. Tony Khan himself. Manny, are you okay?
Yeah, somebody's asking for the Hayabusa mask. I just pointed behind it.
He's pointing out masks.
All right, anyway.
Carry on.
50,000 tickets, AEW All In. Not even on general sale yet. So it looks like they've got around 30,000 to move on general sale. We guess around that much for Wembley Stadium. If they're looking to sell it out. But already, man, like 50,000 is, you know, they've already, you know, it's a history-making event. They've already done like a $6.5 million gate. 50,000, I think, even the people who were being kind of optimistic about the guesses of how many they'll do on the day of the event was saying, like, you know, around 50, 60,000. And it looks like they're gonna leap right past that. You know, obviously, like we've said, general sales not even on sale yet, and already at 50k. It's you know, the UK people, we've all came out. The pre-sale was crazy. We spoke all about it yesterday about my lack of preparation. I got lucky though. I got very lucky. Wasn't as prepared as Joe and Charlie, who done the all-nighter. Even the all-nighter was kind of, you know.
It got to like 2:30, and I was like, fuck, I need to be up before 9 a.m. tomorrow. And I just couldn't sleep. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm just staying up tonight then, I guess.
Excited like Christmas.
Well, we did
honestly.
We did worldwide. And by the time we got done with the post show, it was like 3, and I had the exact same thought process. I don't I don't know why set an alarm for this shit. You know, I'll be fine. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
So it worked out in the end. Real pros.
Yeah,
we got the job
we
done.
done all right. We got the job done. Right. Charlie, how was your pre-sale experience?
I got in and out and got tickets within like 8 minutes. I just didn't tweet straight away because I was like, I just need to process this for a second because of it was like getting the tickets. I just saw that they said like pitch seating and checked out. I didn't even know where I was sitting to start with. So that was fun. But, I had people DMing me. They're just like, "Did you get tickets? Like, are you okay? Like, have you gotten your tickets?" I was just like, "Yeah, I've got them. I just haven't said anything yet."
He was doing the whole like pre-show live tweeting.
Honestly,
the pre-show on the timeline for the pre-sale. You know, like we were saying earlier.
I had nothing else to do.
The voice of British AEW fandom for the pre-sale, for the pre-sale, you know. But yeah, we're going to All In, baby. You know, we got it done. We're gonna
yes.
WrestlePurists gonna land. Gonna get some merch. Gonna have a merch table. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I will have a suitcase of 8x10s.
Yeah,
I had some merch.
Put the words out my mouth. Sure.
Yeah, well, usually I have a backpack, but this is a big building, so I think a suitcase is more fitting. If you just send me a DM closer to the date, I will be able to, figure out a location. We'll get sorted. But I will also, I do think we should make some WrestlePurists like banners of some kind. I think that would be a good idea. While there's great wrestling going on, a great big fucking picture of Monty's going across the screen, or Manny the Hooper, like one of those ones where everyone has a letter each. I think it's worth exploring these kind of things.
I've been telling Monty for a while we should be on this, merch gang, and he said no. So I mean,
I'm sorry, but this.
I know what you're about to say, Jordan. I agree.
Wait, can you hear me?
He's all muffled and shit.
Yeah, we can make it out, but there's just something. It's rough enough, and just look at the Hooper there and all his glory. Beautiful. Look at that, folks. There he is.
That's a real man right there.
Absolutely, a real star. Dare I say, a real star. A draw.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, so let's get some updated predictions on what do you think AEW is going to be at ticket sales wise at Wembley Stadium on the day of the event. It's about to go on to general sale tomorrow morning, and we're already at 50k. I'm going with 70k.
75.
75 is what I was going to say.
75 was my original number, and I'm sticking with.
Yeah, so we're going. That's the WrestlePure. That's the official WrestlePurists podcast. Yeah. That's a 75,000.
To be clear, it's not like an auction. You could, we'll keep going up. That's fine. We can stay at 75. That's okay. 75k, folks. Lock it in. We'll report back on this each week. We won't do that, but we might. If you are, send us a super chat. We may.
Just check my Twitter account. There'll be tweets plenty.
Yes. Yeah, also, if you're running into technical difficulties, go to Charlie's Twitter and you'll have solutions for you.
Charlie was doing the whole business, Yeah. If you're having trouble refreshing,
It was carnage on the timeline. I saw so many people that were like, I just can't get tickets. I can't get in. I was like, look, this is how you do it. It's okay.
Wait, what's a sellout?
What's a what?
What's a sellout?
We don't actually know. Because you've got to think they've got the pitch side seats as well. So
yeah, what was Tyson Fury and Dylan White was like? I think Fury White was like 94k, wasn't it in the end?
Mm-hmm.
And they have a bigger stage and stuff, so it'd probably be about 90k.
You could probably squeeze 100k in there if they were to hit a sellout.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could squeeze 100k, but I think you would have to jeopardize some of the stage or something for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I kind of think, honestly, there's a big part of me that thinks they should go old school with this and just have just an actual walkway. Like, don't even try and do it. Like, can you imagine how awesome that would look? Like, back in the olden days on WrestleMania, guys would walk. They just have a walkway, just an aisle. That was it. Yeah. A big part of me feels like the staging is never going to be WrestleMania level or whatever. So fuck it, go the opposite direction. Have it look like
Why
that.
Not? Well, hold on.
Well,
why not?
That's their domain.
Why can't Tony for this event just fucking go full billionaire dick on the table, you know.
Well, depends what you're asking me now, but assuming you're asking about the stage, he could. I think it's a good way to give them like a separate identity, you know, in some ways. Like if they had a different approach to presentation and production, I think it'd be cool. Like having guys walk out the tunnel.
Yeah, 100% pop, man, you know.
Yeah,
it would be awesome. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't mind. The thing's going to look incredible, whatever you do with the staging. It's going to look incredible. Like I was at Wembley. I went to Wembley for a couple fights, boxing matches, and it always looks ridiculous. Like it's a truly absurd visual, and it'll be no different for this. It'll be a historic moment, absolutely.
It's gonna be really weird being on the floor. I think for
yeah.
Joe's got the grown-up seats. He's got like, you know, like at the front of the first tier, you know.
Oh no, I wasn't allowed to do that. That was my plan, Monty, and I told my dad what the plan was. So, you know, first level at the front. He said, "No, absolutely not. We're not at the front." I said, "What do you mean we're not at the front?" He said, "People when they stand up, you won't be able to see over their heads. Man. You got to go at the back of it." And I said, "Okay." So now we're at the last row of the first level now because I couldn't be proven wrong on that. I just had to follow his word. You know, fuck that. I ain't losing that argument.
Very grown-up seats, even more grown-up,
even more grounds.
That's what I always tell people, man. You never get the
veteran
floor. The floor is
seats.
overrated. You get the top. You get the top of the first layer.
I'm there for the vibes.
Yeah, same. I want to be in the thick of it. You know,
got to be in the thick of it.
Atmosphere is going to be incredible. What's the entrance? Yeah. What entrance are you most looking forward to seeing at Wembley? Because that's going to be a whole thing. Like guys getting their big stadium pops.
Brian,
probably Mox. I want to see where Mox comes out of.
Yeah, Mox.
I don't know, man.
The Bay deal will be pretty special, like the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I really hope. What would you rather? Would you prefer if Tony like goes crazy and like gets everybody? Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh. Would you like?
No, Monty did a face. Carry on, man.
Yeah.
Would you guys like if Tony got everybody like real music, or would you prefer them just come out to their AEW themes?
Depends who, really. Man.
Yeah, definitely depends.
Big guys, yeah.
I don't know.
Adam Cole's theme is so like, you know, why would you change it? You know, everyone's going to go along with it, blah blah blah. So
Charlie pointed this out on Twitter when they announced the show, and I know Charlie, you're not a big FTR fan, but you reminded me of Crystal Palace. They sung the song.
Oh yeah.
If such a thing is possible, they attempted to sing the FTR theme.
Yeah.
And the idea of like Wembley attempting that sounds very funny. So I would like to be a part of that too. So.
I really hope he gets the final countdown. That would be awesome.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be like
that's the one. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be.
God. Even if they don't have a trios match, I just want to hear Wayward Son in Wembley. Like, it's gonna be nuts.
Mate, if I see Nigel walk down that ramp at Wembley, there'll be tears in his eyes, brother. Let me tell you. You know? Let me tell you.
Beautiful.
I'll be texting Manny. We did it! You know?
You go to the building after and see that Manny thought the show sucked.
Yeah. He's an animal now, you know?
Yeah, he is. He's washed.
Yeah, he's washed. That's the latest. He's finished. He's done. He's done, people.
So
enjoy him while you can.
The rest of themselves bad.
Judas is another one that will be crazy in that arena.
Absolutely.
Arena, stadium. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it'll be a crazy time. 100%. Mm-hmm. Fired up.
Absolutely. Right, some super chats. Let's get to business. Simeon, £2. Appreciate you very much. AEW All In Wembley is our Wrestling Champions League final. 4 emojis. It's everything, brother. You know, it's the World Cup final. That's what it is. You know, us British fans, we've waited. Basically, it'll be like 4 years by the time it comes around, I think, or something like that, or just under 4 years. You know, what month was it that AEW started in 19?
It was this month. It was May, because Double or Nothing.
May. I always get mixed up. I thought it was May or September. I don't know why I get that.
Well, TV started in October, so
yeah.
Oh, okay. That must be why. Yeah. Even though September's not October, but still.
Okay,
it's closer. Yeah.
Remember that was the same week as like SmackDown's Fox debut and stuff. It was like Wild Week, the first week of October.
Yeah.
For wrestling TV. But that's another story for another day. We won't talk about Cain Velasquez this evening. Manny will derail the program very quickly.
that'll get the fire in his eyes again.
Oh, yeah.
Showtime Spurs, $2. Appreciate it. Manny, please buy Great O'Connor's hat.
Hey man, you guys think these masks are cheap, bro? You better,
Look at your wall, bro.
Exactly. You have like 150 behind you, bro. What do you want from people?
Well, look, man, some of these are cheap because they're knockoffs, but some of these, man, that I had to find that I wanted. You know, some of these are more expensive.
No, man.
Like this Big Buddha one.
You did just openly tell the people that you dropped like $100 on a random Nigel Ring of Honor shirt a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The people think you're rich, brother. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Rich and merch.
Princess Diana, $2. Appreciate it as always. Wrestling's coming home. It is. You're right. In one of the rare times Diana in the WrestlePurists live chat is talking that real. Darren Walker, £5. Appreciate it as always. Pre-sale for Ticketmaster was bad, while compared to the Fight TV, which was very quick. How many WrestlePurists members be there? And Monty, will you fly Ibu out to? Absolutely fucking not. The only one that tempted me was Manny, and he has no passport. So, Yeah. And even then, I think we would have to do some sort of community fund. I ain't rich people. We're trying to get this platform off the ground.
I'll get to London. I'll just get stuck in like the subway or something. I'll be like, what the hell is
stuck in the subway?
Don't you guys have like a subway or something?
How would you get stuck in it? What are you gonna do? Like physically stuck or like lost?
Where would I go? I don't know. Like
towards the venue, ideally.
Yeah.
I've never seen Wembley. Am I supposed to just look up?
Well,
what you do? You step off
crowd.
the plane. You step off the plane. You leave the airport, and you text Joe Hall, the big man is back.
And I'll be there.
He'll be there, mate.
Yeah. I love the notion that like Wembley's this like secret place. Like, man, he's never seen it, so he just can't locate it by any means.
Invite only,
Yeah.
Simeon, £2. Appreciate. Yeah, it seems like he agrees with the 75,000 come show day. Yeah,
I do want to say if I do go to England one day, I want to ride the big red bus with the two floors like Harry Potter.
The big red bus. There's only one.
The double deckers.
Yeah. I saw in
Wait until Manny sees a bendy bus.
Oh my god, he's gonna lose.
Wait, Manny just said let's for it on Harry Potter. That's what Manny said.
Interesting going, man. Interesting going. Mario Judah, appreciate the super chat with 199. 70k, 90k once TK announces Milan performance.
This is very good.
Hold on. Cast the Shell, 499. Appreciate you. Talk your shit, Charlie. Good to see all of you. Y'all in good health. I predict AEW will do 80k, going on the higher end of us. Going with the over.
What's all this allegation about me being in good health? Where did that come from? Well, hold on a minute. That was very presumptive, wasn't it?
Yeah,
well, you made it here. You got cleared for the podcast, or
yeah.
I'm
good is a very strong word. That's what I'm saying. I appreciate the fault, but nonetheless, good lord.
Maps fans cooking. Maps fan 84 199. Appreciate it. Nigel coming out to Oasis in Wembley. Imagine everyone just singing along.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, what's a good Oasis song to sing in a stadium?
Well, there's one obvious one.
Yeah, I mean. There's that would be like, yeah. There is one Oasis song that I actually saw Bobby Lashley sing at a WWF house show once, which was quite the deal. Bobby, many strengths. Oasis, not one of them, but what I'm saying is maybe Lashley should perform at All In. Is what my pitch is here.
Yeah.
Free him up, man. Free him up.
I hope you guys get a Nigel Magic show
in the middle of All In.
Intervention. No, intermission. Sorry,
intermission. Tony
it might be an intervention by the time he's done.
Remember when Tony wanted to do like an intermission during his pay-per-views? Imagine Nigel just comes out with cards and he's like,
And a bunny rabbit, you know.
Yeah.
Good shit, man. Good shit. Average Limp Biscuit enjoyer, £4.99. Just showing love. We appreciate it very much. Simeon, £2. Appreciate you again. Best entrances: Young Bucks, Kenny, Moxley, Cole. They're all gonna be special, man. I'm hoping and praying that I get to see I was saying to, I can't remember what I was saying to, but if as long as I see like a couple of my favourites, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I don't need to see them all. I just need to see a couple, or just Eddie, Betty's on the show, man.
Yeah.
Put the rest with jobbers, Fuck it.
I was concerned. The other day, when my dad was fired up about going, and he goes, and he said it in a really like vulnerable voice. He goes, "Am I going to see Eddie?" And I was like, oh. I said, "Oh, I don't know about all that, Chief. You might get yourself some Adam Cole, babe. I don't know about Eddie Kingston." I'm not sure.
Tony Khan, man. Do the right thing,
Sure.
Do the right thing. The Custodian, BPJ, $1.99. Appreciate you. Going straight to Nando's when I land in London. Hey, man.
The hell's Nando's?
World class.
You've even heard of Nando's, Hooper?
No.
Not even heard of it? No. Isn't that like the name of like one of Ospreay's moves?
Yeah, I heard of isn't it like the Cheeky Nando's or something like that?
Yeah.
I thought that was just a move. Like he's naming it.
That's Nando's is a chain in the UK.
Like what kind, like a restaurant chain, a gas station?
Yeah, a restaurant chain that does peri-peri grilled chicken, man. To be precise.
Yeah.
It's a good time. Cheap food.
That'd be a hell of a vlog for WrestlePurists, right? Hooper goes Nando's.
Oh my god, yes.
Wait,
that's the vlog we're getting.
Yeah.
Wait, if they serve chicken, then why do you go to KFC, Joe?
Well, it's grilled. What sense does that make? There's going to be one chicken chain.
I think you support the local business, not the
Nando. It's not the local
it's
business.
It's
not a corner shop, man. It's a chain.
You're digging a hole there, brother.
Confronting me on my food choices on the WrestlePurists podcast. What is this? One guy's telling me that I'm in good health. Man, he's going after KFC. What is this? Some kind of attack? Come on.
I got food poisoning from KFC once.
You did? Is that why you're lashing out now? Striking back? I guess we should do some wrestling talk. My bad faces, guy.
Yeah, maybe we should. Where should we start with, man?
I don't know.
Okay.
You sure?
It means I have to get my notes up, Joe.
Well, I mean, you have to do it at some point, right? I just feel
I had to get my notes up. All right, I've got my notes.
Did you know Gunnar Nelson is fighting tomorrow?
I did not.
Game-bred fighting.
I don't know who
Really?
that is.
Bare knuckle MMA.
That would be
Gunnar
why I don't know
Nelson?
who that is.
Yeah.
All right, so he's brought up MMA now, so we're moving away from Dynamite. All right.
Right.
Joe, did you manage to catch Conor McGregor's antics on Twitter last night?
Absolutely not. No.
Oh,
No, I did not.
he was.
Wait,
I don't know if he was under any influences, which he has been accused of many of times during his Twitter rants. But last night, brother, he was quite popping, man. He was saying he was going to suplex Heyman on his head. He was doing the whole bit of like, I was the champ first. Roman Reigns is a wannabe.
Oh no!
He done it. When he does his voice tweets, he done like a promo.
Oh,
And he was like, I've seen too many man to count, but I've seen the last breath or some shit. Like, he was talking about what his entrance is going to be at SummerSlam. He was cooking, bro. Then he deleted it all, like he always does. But Conor McGregor, he's starting this beef with Paul Heyman. It's been going on for a couple months now. Do you think Conor would be tempted to do a little program in WWE if the call came? Because I do personally.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a good payday, right? And as soon as you get that part out of the way, I think he'd be open to it for sure. I think the more interesting thing is like what business that does at this point. I genuinely don't know. So I wasn't asking that as sort of a knock. It intrigues me. I mean, McGregor's supposed to fight later this year, right? Against Chandler, I believe.
Chandler,
No.
There's been a hiccup, but the fight's still happening.
Yeah, now it might happen in the winter. Depends.
I mean, he's like, obviously he's a superstar. I don't care to see it. If it happens, it happens. But Manny, this feels like that's right up your street, mate. To be honest with you, am I right in saying that?
Him coming out to the Foggy Drew, in Detroit, it'd be great. I wonder what him and Roman would look like. But
kind of ridiculous because Roman's like
he would look insane.
4 foot taller than him. Who would you actually sort of put him up against? Would it be Roman just for the just for the market, or would you go for someone else like a fucking I don't know, man.
You'll be the Miz.
No.
Conor McGregor on Miz TV.
Yikes.
LA Knight
Bray Wyatt
chopping it up.
Cody.
Oh, dear.
I wonder what kind of promo.
Hold on.
Him and Cody, I kind of want to see what they would cook up together.
Cody. Oh, bro, Brandy would be involved. He would he'd get crazy with it, Cody. It'd be one of those like classic fucking nightmare clusterfucks that are kind of awesome. Like the Nick Aldis match, the Dustin match. Like there's a certain way. There's a certain way that Cody does his like clusterfucks. I pop for him, because it's just like so chaotic and like just like pop and awesome,
Have we considered Nick Aldis for the Conor McGregor opponent?
You hear his name and you just switch on, don't you?
I see dollar signs, brother, or pound notes in this case. I
want to know what the chat thinks. Does the chat think there's a realistic chance that they see Conor McGregor in WWE in like the next couple years, couple months, whenever? I saw people talking about fucking. Obviously, he said SummerSlam in one of his tweets, so that would be fucking insanity, of course, and highly unrealistic. Because judging from the delay in his fight, that he would be like mid camp or some shit. I don't know, man. Conor's crazy though. So,
It'll probably happen.
Yeah. Conor's everywhere right now. I mean, he was at that bare knuckle fighting, and he's just he just beat Pacquiao in a lawsuit. So I mean, this man's flying high.
He did what?
Yeah, he for like $5.1 million, and then after that, he says he's coming after Artem next.
Oh yeah, because I saw they
deleted all that as well.
He said, "Artem, I'm coming for you." He said, "I'm coming for you," and he's like,
man.
He said, "You better put your house on the line because I'm coming for it."
Like I said, man, I don't know if he was under the influence, man. It's always comes into question when he goes on his Twitter rants these days, and I don't have the times to roll my eyes at him. But like, this was a good few hours on the timeline. I can't lie, Joe.
I'll take your word for it.
I didn't see any of this.
That's never going to be the time. I forgot who he was going after on Twitter. And he put the voice message. You never want to go to war with me. He starts talking like that. You want to go to war with me. And then I was like, bro, what is he talking about? Bro, he's fucking. I still have it somewhere on my phone. I like re-recorded it.
Yeah, he's an animal. Listen, I'd buy a ticket. Charlie, would you buy a ticket?
It's not really my kind of thing. To be
I
honest.
didn't think it would be. But,
No.
Conor McGregor versus John Cena. It's not your.
Oh God, no! I'd pay more to see that.
Could you imagine McGregor doing his big promo and Cena giving him the fine speech and tipping his cap?
Literally a nightmare.
Oh man, they could create some music. Let me tell you.
Christ.
Listen, McGregor at the end of the day is a character, and WWE and wrestling in general is all about characters. So as long as they come up with, something well thought out for him, he could always go off the rails because it's Conor McGregor, But if that's something they want to do one day, I'm sure people would be interested in it,
It feels like
there's definitely an audience.
Yeah, it's too natural a fit to probably. It will be explored at some point, right? Even if it's not like a match the way we're talking, I could definitely see him doing a Tyson kind of spot as an enforcer of some kind for a big match too. Like it feels like they explore it at some point or another, and we'll see how that goes when the time comes.
100%. I've always kind a little part of me. I've always wanted Chael Sonnen to get into like like an on-screen authority figure or something.
I don't know if you remember this, Monty, because I don't think you were watching at the time. But you know Jarrett's promotion, Global Force Wrestling. Their TV tapings, he was the color commentator for. It never I think it's out there somewhere, but obviously they never got the deal. But he was on color for those.
I found the clip, and I want you guys, if you can hear it on the mic. Do you want to go to war, man? Yeah? Do you want to go to fucking war? We'll go to war with you, yeah? See
Look at Manny.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro. Conor was cooking last night, man. I don't give a shit, man. He's a fucking character, bro. Like he done the whole voice, like he done the promo, bro. Like he was. Oh man!
And the funny thing is,
he's a fucking idiot. But
I stopped him before you can hear him. But he's like, your security sets you up and all that. Like he's like, bro, he was like in his Tony Montana bag that night. I don't know what.
Good shit, man. That's a shit. That's a shit for me and Manny. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean,
Maths on 84 199. He says if Cody was champ, that would make him drop to Conor.
Oh no, Conor ain't doing no jobs.
Ooh, spiteful.
Yeah, Conor wouldn't do the job, for some wrestler, for some fight wrestler,
Conor's probably gonna take out all his aggression, or all the wrestlers that took him down the UFC just on these pro wrestlers.
Shoots on Chad Gable because he's Olympian,
to show that he can actually still go with the just had to
Chad. Oh man. Simeon £5. Appreciate it. MJF and Sammy need to stop reading One Direction erotic fan fiction. It's getting too steamy, lol. Yeah, man. They're building that on-screen relationship. Well, it all came crumbling last night, but it was trending in the right direction, Anyway, Joaquin Guzman. I hope I pronounced that correctly. $4.99. Appreciate you very much. Manny, vamos a Orlean. Manny, go ahead. You're the close. I didn't even.
Yeah, I was thinking.
He's saying you don't need a passport. We can just go through a tunnel. I didn't realize that was Chapo in the corner, so I read the tunnel part.
Oh shit! The way we get stitched up on this podcast in the live chat is you don't get it anywhere else. That's what the people listen, Jacob Donnelly, $10. Appreciate it. Do you guys think TK has been on a cruise control until Collision and Wembley? Last month of Dynamite hasn't been hitting outside of the two top stories. Rest of the show is meant to straight up bad, in my opinion.
True.
Manny just whispering.
Manny just goes true. That's it.
Manny's with you. Manny's definitely with you all the way, mate.
I forgot there was a pay-per-view between now and Collision. Wait, no, actually there's two. There's Forbidden Door, and then there's Double or Nothing, right? Double or Nothing's next.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fuck, man, that shit's gonna suck, man. I mean, like...
the pay-per-views never suck, bro. Come on.
Never, come on. Many can't even say that shit.
No, bro, I just...
It's gonna be bad, but...
Actually did pop the win. They try to sneak in that FTR versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett match is gonna be on the pay-per-view. That was pretty good. But, I mean, I don't really care about the main event, the 4-way. So I mean, I hope the rest of the card's good.
We're gonna get into it here as we go through Dynamite. I actually thought they did a good job with the pillars stuff last night. I liked it quite a bit. I think it's got a lot stronger in the last couple of weeks. Is it the most dynamic pay-per-view main event I've ever seen? Absolutely not. I think AEW have certainly had stronger main event builds, but I actually think it's okay. In terms of, does it feel like we're waiting for other things to happen? A little bit, yeah. But a part of that's because we're all way too close to it and have been talking about the things that are going to happen next month for about 5 months now. So, part of that's not really, I think a lot of that is kind of being too close to the discourse, which I hate saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're in a bubble, brother,
Yeah, I do. That's part of it. For me personally, it's part of it anyway. It's like, because Collision is going to be a different era, so to speak, right? With AEW, because it's going to be a different time. For better or worse, and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But my point is that Collision is going to change how AEW operates in some form or fashion. It's another 2 hours of TV. And so like this time in between, now that we know it's coming, is kind of, I think you kind of have to accept that naturally you're going to feel that way about it. I actually think the shows are still pretty good. They're just not particularly like, I can't wait to see what happens next week. And
they've lost kind of like the must-see, crazy excitement going into the shows and like, look at this lineup and you know what I mean and all that sort of shit. But when AEW is hitting on all cylinders that they've done in multiple different times, that's the feeling when you wake up on a Wednesday and you check the timeline and the night going up to it. Like there's genuine excitement that you can feel on the timeline. But again, we are in a bubble. But when you look at if you want to look at the fucking numbers, then it tells the same story as well. So there is some crossover in that respect.
Let me be clear. That's important, actually. I'm glad you bring that up. Like when I say the bubble thing, I'm not really in reference to the promotion being cold domestically. I'm more talking about like, to me, as someone, the way we cover wrestling, it does feel like they're in a holding pattern. Like because of what I mentioned. I don't think that's necessarily tied to the other issues they have in terms of like this particular pay-per-view build not necessarily connecting with the TV audience, because the ratings would suggest it hasn't been a smash hit with the TV audience, right? That's not necessarily I'm not jumping to any conclusions. I think that's pretty fair looking at the metrics we've got. The Pillars thing was, it was always going to be a gamble. I've liked some of it. I've disliked some of it. It doesn't seem the audience is exactly enthralled by it. Live crowd liked it last night, I think, but I don't know. I mean, last night's rating wasn't particularly encouraging, but I'm not an expert. I'm sure there was 101 other things on and so on and so forth. So I don't know.
The Wembley announcement and pre-sale and stuff has definitely helped in the sense of the perception of it like starting to like warm up again, because like until like before that, it's like we said, like especially if you look at the numbers, which are obviously numbers that don't they're undeniable. It's not really a matter of opinion. I think it's pretty fair to say that the promotion you don't have to say that they were cold, but they definitely weren't hot at the time.
Sure.
So like now with the Wembley announcement, it's kind of hard to say that a promotion isn't hot when they've just sold 50,000 tickets on a pre-sale. But at the same time, outside of that, it's like they just kind of don't feel like really hot and exciting, the most exciting at the moment, which is actually quite interesting when you look at it, when they've just made like signing like Jay White as well, and it's like they have been kind of busy in making signings. Like Vikingo's finally just came over and he's had like some star-making performances and stuff like that. They've just signed Commander as well, who's impressed. Like he always gets over when he's in front of audiences and stuff like that. Bandido's been back recently. There's rumors of other people coming back as well. So it's interesting. It's kind of interesting to look at it like that, but overall, it just does not feel that exciting at the moment. Even though, again, like regardless of whether you think the shows are all good or not, like I do think the shows are pretty like they're still held like a pretty good standard. It's not like the shows have fell off a cliff, but in terms of like interest and excitement and just being like super interesting and engaging your audience, I just think that's that particular part of it. That's where the kind of it's kind of slipped a little bit. When I think they can bring it back, but especially with like the CM Punk and the things that like what Joe mentioned, the things that people are quote unquote waiting on, like the CM Punk, the Collision, the Wembley show to happen, Forbidden Door to start like kicking in, blah blah blah, all these different things. I think they can definitely like catapult themselves again and come out of the summer really really strong. But they have to play the cards really carefully.
That's where Collision concerns me somewhat, in the sense that in a lot of ways, Punk coming back feels like it'd be a good way to kind of bring back some of the excitement that we feel Dynamite has been lacking as of late. and it would be kind of like a boost to get a Star of Punk's magnitude belt. Whether you want him back or not, he's a big time player, and it would add a certain like oomph to the show. And I think the concern with Collision is this the best time for that to be coming into your schedule? Like as eyes are wandering and people are kind of looking away from Dynamite, do you want to say, actually, don't worry, we've got another 2 hours on Saturday? We'll find out. I mean, the answers will be ahead of us here pretty soon. But my concern is you're going to kind of divide an audience that's already a little bit, slowly but surely, being chipped away at. And I think that could be an issue, I think. Charlie, I'm interested. Where are you at in terms of AEW's kind of heat overall? Where do you stand on that front?
I think I've talked about this on a previous episode that we're seeing TK trying to find the balance between booking the pay-per-views like storylines in advance and actually building them, and just like trying to pop the cage match fans, like, and like he's finding a balance with it slowly. Like obviously he's doing the steel cage match, he did the Kenny Vikingo match, but I think like it's definitely reflecting in the ratings that those big time matches that people were tuning in for, like the absence of them has affected things. And like you said, like with Collision and that coming up, it does feel like they're just like trying to get through this next pay-per-view round so they can like really heat up for the summer. But it's not the way it should be, really. I'm interested to see what happens with CM Punk coming back and if they do this soft roster split and how people react to that, because I do think that could have an impact on the numbers, and Dynamite might take a hit for it, honestly.
It's going to be interesting. I think, in terms of what you mentioned about the build, right? And like balancing, giving big matches, but actually doing a traditional build. Unless I'm mistaken, and folks in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think that the Pillars thing started the week after Revolution. I'm certain of it, right? Because Max had a big, or like it was like one episode later. And MJF, this whole cycle, has been focused on the Pillars deal and the guys building themselves up to him and the ins and outs with Sammy. And we're going to get into it tonight. I actually think this last kind of leg of it has been pretty damn good. I've liked it as TV. I'm not totally convinced on it as a main event again, but I like what they've done kind of with what they've got there. However, the reason I bring this up is that was 2 months ago almost, the last pay-per-view, right? And it's like very seldom of AEW had a world title program that started after the last pay-per-view and built all the way to the next one. A lot of what I just described sounds like a positive thing, but I think you could easily look at what we've got here in this build and say, actually, maybe they've been more well served to stick to their kind of prior approach of having a big TV world title program in between pay-per-views, which is kind of generally a thing they would do. Instead, Max, we've kind of known where Max was headed for Double or Nothing the whole time. Right, and it's like it's been the results of that have been interesting. I mean, I've liked some of it, I've disliked some of it, but the metrics do not suggest it's been a smash hit, to say the least. Right, so I don't know, intriguing for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, 100%. Manny is definitely he's one of the people, as he said, that has lost. Look, he's looking around, not very worried right now. Look, he's one of the people that's kind of lost a little bit of interest in AEW. Like, why? What are you like big main reasons, Manny, of why you haven't been like as interested in Dynamite recently?
I guess you could just say it's like the main reason. Like it just feels like it's a holding period, and I just feel like there's like so many big matches you can be doing weekly, like, and without wasting them. Like it's crazy to me that I'm gonna use Malachi for an example. Malachi does not wrestle, and like you would think you would use him for singles matches or someone like Brody, like, and you have him just stashed away, like, doing stuff in a dark room or something. Like, you can have these guys doing matches, or, for example, my favorite storyline right now is the BCC versus the Elite, and it seems like there is a lot going on, but at the same time, there isn't. There hasn't been any match. Like, I want to see matches between these guys, and all they're doing is just like talking between. I think it's crazy that we haven't got a Claudio versus Matt or Nick Jackson match, or the Young Bucks versus
100%.
Yeah.
Me and Manny were complaining in the DMs yesterday, like the point that he literally just made. It's like if you can't say that the Blackpool Combat Club and Elite stuff isn't like a smash hit especially amongst the fans of theirs. It's been really good stuff, and but I think a lot of the expectation going into the feud and what would be so great about it would be like some of the singles pairings you'd get in it, in like the build up to the big matches on the pay-per-views and stuff. And it feels like we have had a severe lack of those in this feud so far. like Manny just said, like just fucking throw Matt Jackson in there with Claudio. You know, it's not gonna hurt anyone. You know, like it's just do it. You know, people will pop for it.
I have no idea if Bryan Danielson is hurt right now because I think it's kind of weird that he hasn't done anything physical. But if he wasn't, this was like a missed opportunity. You would have had Takeshi versus Bryan Danielson 2 this week, you know, because of what happened last week. Or like you would have had him versus somebody else in the BCC just because if I was to like storyline wise, Takeshi should be mad what they did to him and all that. Like, there's a lot of things I would be doing differently. And
I think it comes back to like the point of if they are in this holding period, are they waiting for these matches? Like, are they trying to push the storyline until post Double or Nothing so they can extend it and have it go on for longer? Like, that's what I'm thinking. But the fact that we didn't get Nick versus Claudio after that brawl really frustrated me because, like, that was like the biggest thing coming out. You made your call, everyone man. Was just like, I did. I was like, they've got to do Nick versus Claudio on Rampage. Like, it just makes sense. But
I'm with you. I definitely think there's a chance they want this feud to go on for a long time because there's so much star power involved. And
I think it'll be at Wembley as well. You know,
it's been so strong thus far that you can't really argue with that. It's the only issue is that they've already reached such a point in terms of like there being a violence in the feud, right? With the screwdriver and all this, and then there's a cage match. It's like if they are intending for it to get to Wembley, for example, that will be a challenge, and I think they're capable of doing it. I think they've kind of proven that. Hangman's obviously kind of waiting in the wings too, which will be something they're going to cross that at some point. So I think we all agree that feud, while I completely get your point, Manny, and I don't even disagree, it's like that feud's the least of our worries on some level. I think you would, Manny, you mentioned some of the other names. It's like they've definitely moved away from, and I don't want to talk for you because you said it perfectly yourself, but like there's a version of Dynamite that you specifically really much prefer to what we've been getting, and they've definitely moved away from that pretty dramatically as of late.
Yeah, like everybody's gonna like because I always bring them up, but like just for example, we had Rush versus Danielson. That wasn't even a big match, but it was still big names going at each other, and look, if people thought it was one of the best Dynamite matches ever, like you have these names, they're just sitting in like the sideline waiting for maybe Collision to come out when you guys could be like having these matches. Like for example, the trios battle royal shit, whatever. You could you don't need all these teams in there. Like, bro, they suck at these battle royals. Pick out the 4 teams that you wanna have them wrestle. Have like a mini tournament, then have 2 teams face last night on Dynamite, then have them face again on Dynamite on Rampage because he does it anyway sometimes, and then have them face the House of Black on Wednesday next week. I feel like that would have kept it in.
Right.
I didn't need to see the Acclaimed and the Butch and the Blade go freaking 5 minutes last night, in the end of the battle royal. Like, just give me the Acclaim versus Lucha Bros Vikingo or stuff like that, or the Dark Order.
It's also been hard, I feel, for you, Manny, because the guy who's been the kind of designated workhorse of the program in the last couple of months, you're not a big fan of the way he wrestles in Orange, right? And I think that's made it even more kind of exacerbated. But I think you're right. I mean, like we're all sickos on this screen right here, and I can tell you that as someone who is enough of a loser at track match quality on these programs, there has been a definite shift. There would be 2, 3, 4-star matches on Dynamite at one point. Now, does that matter in the grand scheme of things? I don't know, but to freaks like us, yes, it does. We very much appreciated those 4-star matches. That Rush Danielson match that Manny mentioned, that was in the middle of the show and was followed by a Elite versus Top Flight and AR Fox match or something of that effect. There was a crazy run there, and it's definitely changed for sure.
And I don't know if Tony spread thin of who he wants to keep on the Ring of Honor, because it's so weird that we haven't even seen Samoa Joe on Dynamite, or I think it's insane that he hasn't used Claudio on Dynamite. I'm like, who cares if he's the Ring of Honor World Champ, bro? Just use him, have him defend his title on the show. Who's it really hurting? I feel like sometimes Tony goes in a certain direction where he listens to the online discourse and he's like, oh man, I got to do a hard course correction, and then he realizes, oh no, actually people don't like the course correction that I made, and then he slowly goes back to what he was doing before. It's like, just do how you were doing it. That was making Dynamite cool the first time, and then don't worry about it. People are going to use complain to complain, and I don't know. It's kind of frustrating sometimes. And I'm pretty sure the Acclaim and Billy Gunn are going to win next week anyway. So I hope the House of Black are freed up to do whatever they're going to do and see. Like, I hate one of them because it's just like they're all badasses and they're just kind of just like wasting away. And I was so excited for the trios belt when it first got made, and honestly, I think it ended up just hurting everybody involved. Ended up hurting the tag. Like, we're getting cool matches, but it hurt the tag team division, and we don't even see the guys now because there's not enough trios for them to wrestle anyways. So
yeah, that's the thing. It's like when the Bucks and Kenny had the trios, it's like, everyone wants to wrestle. Everyone wants to see Kenny wrestle singles, and we can't. And it's like, because he's got the trios. It's like he still could have, but, and I'm sure he did wrestle one or two, but like it was seen, like some fans at least saw it as like a handicap, and now it's like House of Black. It's like it feels like they've done the promo yesterday without the titles, and I was like, a part of me for a split second forgot they were the trios champs, It was also quite interesting they didn't do the promo without, like, they've done the promo without the titles. Like,
well, they threw them on the
promo
floor. They threw them on the floor. They had them, and they said they said we're not bound to these titles, and just threw them to the floor.
Oh, that looks great, doesn't it? Anyway, we'll do. But I think it's always fair, like when someone says, I'm not that interested in a show, or that show sucked, or that show's bad. It's always good. Like you see, like Manny's not a fucking he has his bits online, But like when he's like reviewing or talking about a show, he's very honest. And if he doesn't like something, he has actual reasons for not liking it. Like he's just explained, And
that's why, like, it was. Sorry, Matty. But that was why I threw in those couple points, because knowing you well, I know there are certain things you're not trying to. It's like they're just not for you. But carry on, mate. Go ahead.
Yeah, I try not to bring the trolling to like podcasting because it's weird to blur the lines and stuff like that. I rather
blur the lines like he's on Total Divas or something.
Like the title lines kayfabe,
Yeah, AEW All Access Hooper here, folks. Here he is. Go on, mate. Carry on.
I forgot my point, but I was gonna bring it up like. I bring it up every week, but I'm still shocked about what they're doing with Jay White. I'm like, come on, bro. Like,
don't wind me up. Anyway, don't wind me up, mate.
Okay, so Chad was saying they had new belts, and I just went and looked, and they had custom belts in that promo. I just did not pay any attention.
Yeah, they just had a custom side plates. That's it.
Because it's the new House Rules gimmick, right? I thought it was actually a pretty cool promo. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
I thought it was a cool promo. I had to go back and listen to it because I tuned out. But it was cool.
Just one or two super chats to fly through real quick, and we'll do like our little Dynamite review now before everyone starts. Well, we'll try to. Princess Diana says, $2, appreciate it as always. I'd get you in, Manny, but unfortunately I'm dead. That is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Some of the best are always dead. So
Henry Charles Albert David replies, $4.99, appreciate him. Manny, don't listen to Diana. These rules don't like people who aren't one of their own, but I'm not like them. Come through to All In. I got you, King. There's your invite, Manny.
I don't know.
Not sure how legitimate he is, but there it is.
Brother or the good brother?
Oh, they're all bad.
We don't like
Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah. Simeon, £2, appreciate you. Kind of will smash the Bloodline transport wagon. But I could really do like some fucking hilarious angles if they got Conor, brother. Simeon again, £2, appreciate him. Shows need cohesion and clear direction weekly. Well, I think they're trying, but it's just we'll go through Dynamite, and Simeon wants more, £5, appreciate him. No Pac, no House of Black title defenses. FTR are sliding down the card. MJF needs to defend the title at least 2 times between pay-per-views.
Oh, come on, you're asking a lot of MJF.
Manny's just accepted it now, Manny has just accepted it.
He's so defeated. Look at Manny.
Bro, you know how fuck man. I was watching that tag match, and I didn't realize I was watching the fight version of it. They're freaking like talking about like, oh, Baltimore's abortion or whatever. We can't leave this place and all. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are we doing, bro? Cutting mid-match promos during the show, bro. I was like, just go out there, grab a hold, man. Do something, man. I don't even.
Grab a hold.
Oh, man. Simeon's cooking, man. £4, appreciating. TNT title is back in the squash mud as well. AEW is 7 out of 10 shows at the moment with no banger top tier matches. Jay White needs more time.
Yeah.
Again, don't wind me up. I've done more. I've had the live chat kick the fucking shit out of me, you know, for my Jay White rants. Once I get going, bro, I'll get like halfway through and I'm like, well, hold on, you know what I mean? Also,
just come back to it. It's just like, well, actually.
Yeah. I forgot to say. Anyway, David Michael Harwood, Dax Harwood of FTR, $5. Appreciate him as always. Manny, you're now my designated lover boy when Ibu isn't on the show. Let's watch Vader matches in my hotel room. Wink. Manny?
I do not respond to that.
Fair. Very fair.
Manny looked like legitimately roused by this information.
I appreciate the love.
Shoot through his boots, bro. Look at Manny.
He's turned white.
No. I know. Like, when Monty was reading that, I remember what Joe told me before the show. It was about me, and now I forgot to look it up, and now I'm like, man, I should look that up.
Bro, there was a super chat about Dax Harwood and Ibu and hotel rooms. You said, I just remember what you told me before the show. You know the kind of worms you just opened up there, bro? The can of worms you just swung open on the show? I couldn't say anything. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's good stuff, man. It's entertainment.
What we do. Say phrases like that on these things, man. People, have bad ideas. But anyway, carry on, money.
Dynamite review, man. Yeah, let's jump in, man. We started off with the debut match of Roderick Strong. It was an 8-man tag. It was a JAS versus Roddy, Cole, Bandito, and Orange Cassidy, I believe. This was good, man. Good, nice little start to Dynamite. Roddy looked great. Yeah, man, that's kind of all I've got to say about it, to be honest. I thought Roddy looked fantastic because he's Roddy. Joe, this is kind of like your time in the sun. Roderick Strong is all elite. He's looking good out there. You know, he's flinging the big man around. He predicted it. He said Jake Hager will fly. He did indeed fly last night. What was your thoughts on the 8-man last night to open the show?
I liked it a lot. You know, they built the match around Roddy's hot tag, right? And he was explosive in that regard, as you expect. And I thought Bandito did a good job of shining, even though the match wasn't really intended to, showcase him. But he's still Bandito, so he did his thing. Mm-hmm. I really like the deal with Cole, like, wanting to get his hands on Jericho. There are always going to be, like, flaws in that logic, but they did as good a job as you really can while having a wrestling match around it, at the idea that he wanted to get to Jericho, which I appreciated. Jake Hager and Roderick Strong, I wasn't saying it as a bit. Like, genuinely, those two would have a legitimately good match. I hope they book that for a Rampage no one watches at some point so I can enjoy myself in peace. Roddy just fucking whacks people. That's what he does. I mean, I warned everyone. I hope Danny did protect himself as I recommended. I mean, Garcia and Roddy were scrapping. At one point, they did their big standoff spot, and those two were out there fighting. They forgot to do the spot. They were so caught up in it. It was a really good time. Very well put together. The JAS, shout out to Menard and Parker for being like incredible Stooge heels. They did an extended sequence of Orange. Did an extended sequence of Orange Cassidy. They're just like running into each other. It's like when they do that, that makes Garcia's job so much easier. Because then he can be a little more serious because they're doing so much of the work on the comedy side. So it was very well done. I liked it a lot.
Good shit, man. Manny, this was one of the parts of the show that you did enjoy. Roddy, he's another big Roddy stand on the screen. What did you think of the tag? Break it down for us.
I actually went 4 on this. I thought this was awesome. This is the opening with Roddy and Dan Garcia was awesome. It blew. I popped like when they were like brawling on the floor, like Joe said, and then like they just forgot to do their spot.
Yeah,
they were so into it, and then like I would have went a little higher if I actually got a longer sequence between Roddy and Hager, and if Tony still had his fastball, he would have booked it right away, but he didn't. So I just
if
can't.
Tony still had his fastball, is incredible.
I just couldn't believe how they got the crowd hot for Roddy's hot tag. And they went crazy or crazy as Baltimore can get, and for his little hot tag he had with everybody, which was awesome. And I think everybody did part.
One of my favorite things about Roddy Hot Tags is that, like, of course, he knows what he's gonna do when he goes in there, but sometimes you get the feeling that he's just whacking people,
Well,
and he'll turn
the
around
reason
and
he-
he'll just grab someone and fucking throw
I
them
think-
somewhere.
I think it's because like it's so hard for guys to feed him because of the speed he goes at. Like if you notice when he comes in, Menard can't even get up in the time that he crosses the whole fucking ring and chops Parker. It's like so he ends up just sort of just looking for people to hit, right? And he does that thing where he like, as well as the fire slap, he has like a sound effect to his strikes. Like he goes, wow, he fucking whacks people. You're like, oh, fucking, he just yells as he chops people, which is just, I mean, that's what I'm looking for in my wrestling, you know? Him clobbering Jake Hager while like yelling to himself in excitement. I mean, that's wrestling. That's what I'm looking for. That's why you buy a ticket, folks. Beautiful.
I'm kind of mad that we don't see enough of Matt Menard and Angelo Parker because they're so
They're
when you
so
see
good.
when you see them in this match, you realize how good they are, and you're just like, man, why don't we see more of them wrestling and all that? Because all the little things they do, just like every time Roddy hit him or Adam Cole hit him with like his big boot little boot since it's Adam Cole, but like
That was so spiteful.
That was so unnecessary. The big boot is not all decided by how tall someone is. That's such a.
That was so unnecessary.
Very spiteful.
I think Adam Cole did a great
that
job.
was
with this
messed up. I
match.
shouldn't have done that. I don't know why my
Manny, that was the hooper right there, bro.
Yeah, the hoop's creeping out. You know, it's time
Yeah.
to throw it to Charlie. I think Charlie. What did you think of the opener?
I thought it was really good. I had a great time watching it. It was just like, it was like messy and scrappy in a way that 8-man tags should be. Because like they've done some 8-man tags in the past that haven't been that. Like, but I was really excited to see Roddy in an AEW ring and see what he did. And I just need him in a singles match like as soon as possible and give him
Yeah.
like 20 minutes to go nuts because it's Roddy Strong, man. I want to see what he can do. Now that he's not stuck in fucking NXT 2.0 again anymore, like
100%. I guess that. Go on.
yeah.
Now carry on, Charlie, if you want.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm happy that Bandito did get like a chance to like show off some of his stuff as well. Like in a match that he was teaming with people like Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, and Orange Cassidy, he didn't seem like the odd one out, which I thought was like just a testament to how talented he is.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
offense
he's
is
awesome.
unbelievable.
He's
Incredible
awesome,
offense.
bro. He's just got like the charisma as well to go with it, which is incredible because he's not even like English speaking. He's got like this physical charisma, you know. And he just kind
Absolutely,
of just it's really striking.
Can somebody tell me when Dan Garcia changed his theme song?
It was,
about a
it was when he
month ago.
wrestled. It was when he wrestled Cole. That was
Yeah.
the first.
Probably
time.
not even a month. Yeah. Good shit, people. It's good shit.
Yep.
But yeah, to the point of like needing Roddy in a singles, like yeah, like I guess technically as a big Roddy guy, like ideally his debut match would have been a singles, you know, and we really got like a proper Roddy showcase. But Roddy's just so good. But like even in an 8-man, when he's in there with 7 other people, like if he gets his hot tag spot, he's gonna stand out and he's gonna do some great shit because he's fucking Roddy Strong. So if us Roddy Strong fans, I think as you can tell, we were still very satisfied with what we got last night, you know. But that doesn't mean he's got a way of not booking that singles, you know. Get it done, TK.
Yeah,
I think you'll get it. Go on, Manny.
I do want to say this match did a really good job of having a serious undertone while also being a fun watch. So I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
I felt like I was
good
watching like a PWG match, you know, with everybody doing like all their crazy spots and everything while also being like, oh shit, yeah, Adam Cole actually hates all these guys involved, and he's just waiting to get to Chris Jericho, which was a pretty good. It was pretty. I don't remember the last time Dynamite had that, but it was awesome.
Angle was really strong. Quickly, it's circle back to Roddy because, of course, I think he's going to get a couple of singles. I feel like Jericho's going to wrestle him right before the pay per view. It feels like.
Oh, Jericho!
Jericho was
I
so
know-
excited talking about him.
Oh my God.
This is the thing. I know there's like an instinctual pushback. It's like, oh, it's Jericho, but he's going to chop Jericho so
No, that's
hard.
what
And
I'm. That's what
you
I'm trying to
know
say.
like we've seen what Chris does in that situation. Like, bless him, man. He fucking digs his heels in and says, "All right, fine, I'm going to throw chops." Right? Like, it will be a spectacle. I sense. As much as two 40-year-old men chopping each other can be a spectacle, this will be that. Chris, yes, I did just say you're 40. You can send me a check for that later. Carry on, money.
Yeah, man. It was just good shit, you know. The angle afterwards, like we said, he was that again was good shit. So obviously after Adam Cole gets a pin, he charges up the ramp and he does eventually get his hands on Chris Jericho and he just fucking clears him out, takes out like the setup of the beyond commentary because of course Jericho's on commentary during all this. And and he's just on top of him throwing punches, and there's like 7 security guards that come, and like he all gets split up, and he goes to an ad break, I believe, as well. Yeah, man, it was a good angle, and it felt heated, and it felt justified, and it made sense, and even just like little things in that, like just like the security guards getting there in like a reasonable amount of time, you know. So like there was an angle like a few weeks ago, I think it was one of the BCC elite ones. And you've just got like fucking someone's getting like mutilated with a screwdriver in the middle of the ring, and like no one comes out to do anything about it. It's like it's just those little things that like the old heads will either pop for and complain about, you know. So
and in the same vein, you're probably going to cover this separately, but while the Brit thing itself is like whatever, I appreciate we came back from the break and the announcers were immediately like, look at the mess these dudes made, you know, and they had the set was almost like. That's another one of those little things where it's like, thank you for reminding me. Yes, I am that dumb. Please remind me when something just happened on the wrestling show. Because seriously, it's a cliche, and I try not to go on about too much on these shows, but there are crazy things that happen on this show that are never referenced again. And this is one of your big feuds. Adam Cole and Chris Jericho is a big feud. Take 5 seconds and say, fuck, Jericho just got the shit kicked out of him up here, you know, and then they had a follow-up. I appreciate that. I thought they did a hell of a job with this deal. Really good stuff.
Yeah, man. Right, so like I said, it goes to the ad break, and then we come back, and it's Jungle Boy and Darby backstage with Renee, and they kind of do like a short promo that's kind of like, you know, putting themselves over and, you know, like hyping up the main event, which is obviously the Pillars tag. And then, you know, Renee hears something on the earpiece, and it's what Joe just referenced with all the chaos backstage. Adam Cole is getting taken out. Jericho's doing the whole get him out of here, get him out of here. It's probably worth mentioning he's wearing the black eye Britt Baker t-shirt. And you know, Britt Baker comes into the camera shot, and she gets in Jericho's face. She smacks Jericho, then she rips at the t-shirt, and Jericho just on the floor like this pathetic heel, you know. Just so, Jericho's really good at being like pathetic, you know.
Absolutely, it's a skill, brother. That really is.
Yeah, it is, man. It was good shit. It was good angles and segments, whatever you want to call them. Then after this, we had a Blackpool Combat Club promo where Brian and Marks are going back and forth, and they're being very spiteful and mean, you know, as they always are. Charlie, what did you think of the BCC boys doing their thing that they always do?
They're just really good fucking promos, aren't they? Like there's not much I can say other than just praising them, and I feel like that's all I ever do on these shows. It's just like, yeah, the BCC are great. Like they're constantly doing good shit. Thought it was quite funny that they were taking shots at Bret Hart, but not everyone's going to enjoy that. But
and people immediately started tweeting about Dax. Dax ain't going to be happy.
100%, yeah. So you refresh the timeline, it was just like 7 people at him, and it's just like, I'm sure he saw. He's probably watching.
Oh, yeah. But, absolutely.
I enjoyed it. I'm excited for the cage match next week.
100%. I liked how Danielson called Wheeler Yuta a little shit.
Yeah.
Partner, you know? It's like this little shit here.
He was just brilliant about it. It's
it's great. Joe, Manny, anything you want to add about the BCC promo?
Literally, I mean, this group's always been a fun concept, but we always just talk about how the ceiling for this group was like unfathomable. They're starting to head in that direction. This thing's been really great since they flipped the switch and have just been assholes, really. I mean, that's really what they are now, right? And Danielson is at home in that role. My God, is he great in that role? He's kind of like the coach, it feels like, too, you know, because of the lack of physicality is slightly alarming, as Manny hinted at, but it's made him like even more of a dick, the fact that he's just kind of watching them. Danielson Moxley 1-2 punch promo-wise, this was one of their best promos ever as a group. They've gone from not being seen together at all to feeling like a true unit in about a month. This stuff's awesome, man. It's the best thing on the show.
They actually feel like everything they do is kind of like magic, and they feel like every time you see them together when they're on their little unis, you know, they feel like a fight team.
They do.
Yeah, it's good.
I needed to come out with a banner for like fake sponsors.
Yeah. They need a coach, man. We need Nigel in there or something. You know, like a real, you know, like a proper like mean old cunt. Yeah, Greg can do it, brother. Greg fits that bill, you know.
Yeah, Taz.
All right, so next up we had Saraya versus Willow. We had Sheeta's return, which of course is always going to be a big part.
You get Josh Barnett.
Well, hold on.
He's busy over in Japan, brother. You know, he's a busy man.
Oh,
So,
you don't want Josh Barnett towering over everybody too. So,
well, yeah, we'll get to that. You know, Saraya versus Willow Nightingale, and of course the return of Sheeta. As I was just saying, everyone loves Sheeta. I love Sheeta. She's great. She has great matches. She's over. People are happy to see her back. I hope I hope she can cook, man. That's the thing with Sheeta. I feel like it's like every few months since she lost the title, it's like, where's Sheeta? You know?
Yeah.
Like that feels like something I find myself asking myself. And, you know, I'm not the most, like, you know, I know I do the like, review shows and stuff, but it's not like I'm fully locked in on every last detail of every last storyline in the shows, you know? That's Will Washington's job, you know? It did pop me last night because everyone knows Will's a big Sheeta fan, and it's like obviously he got announced before the show, and everyone was tweeting Will Washington like, you know, he got Sheeta back, and I was like, yeah, good press, you know. But yeah, pop for Sheeta. Is there any match in particular that any of you guys are hoping Sheeta gets in like the coming weeks?
Not sure. I mean, I guess. Go ahead, Bonnie. What were you going to say?
I was going to say run back Tona, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, that match that will always be good. I was trying to think if there was a friend. I guess have her and Ruby worked together at all? Because Ruby's a heel now, so it'll be different anyway. But Sheeta against anyone's worth TV time. You know, she's awesome. But
yeah, she's awesome.
It was good to see her here. I thought the match was solid for what it was. Saraya, I think, is like she's probably not going to be a wrestler who makes your spreadsheet, folks. But she seems to have gotten back to a point where like she's steady, which is good, genuinely. Yeah. And you know, I think Willow is always a treat to see Willow in front of these arena crowds, right? They always just fucking rock for it. It's an awesome thing to see. And I like the angle. It was, you know, something actually happened. There was development. The conclusion of the angle almost felt like they were basically saying, look, when the AEW homegrown kind of all-stars band together, the Outcasts are exactly that, right? They're completely kind of outsiders on that front and haven't got much to fight back with. So I'm intrigued as to what the next step is. It feels like the Outcasts need to add someone to their ranks here, right after what we saw last night, to kind of regain the advantage you'd expect them to have going into whatever match they get here. So I'm intrigued as to who that is. Athena does feel, while I don't want Athena to be an Outcast member, she does feel like an obvious person they could like recruit for whatever match we're headed to here, right? And it'll be interesting what they do. But I like this whole deal, actually. It was pretty good.
Do you have any other guesses about who Outcast could get to even up the sides?
Not sure.
Who's even on the roster?
Samurai.
Oh man, I don't know, man. Athena does seem to make sense, of course, because she's also she's so clearly heel. She's on fire at the moment, and she's an outcast. You know,
and that would be
WWE. And
to answer your question, Monty, about matches you'd like to see Sheeta have, right?
Yeah.
That would immediately slot in at the top of that list.
So 100%.
I do want to say I thought it was kind of weird, like when Sheeta came out. I feel like they just missed out like a whole bunch of we missed out on months of like storytelling, and we just skipped it all. And Sheeta just came.
Oh well, yeah, she just came out. It wasn't exactly presented the most amazing way. That's kind of why I feel like, you know,
I was just happy they did something.
You know?
They did something this week that wasn't just a beatdown, so I'll give them props for that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of why I was probably taking it a little easier, you know. But
when Sheeta came out, they just like immediately forgot about Willow after. Like she was a bit of an afterthought in that. That was like my bigger issue with this segment.
Yes.
I don't know whether that will be something that plays into it going forward, or whether it was just oh shit, Sheeta's here. Like
their presentation of like, you know, just kind of angles in general, and that they you know, whether that's Jay White's debut, Sheeta's return, the reoccurring fucking copy and paste angles of this Outcast feud until last night, and even the way that they done last night, like I said, like kind of the way it was kind of presented to us was you know, but like I was saying earlier, like when it's someone like Sheeta, it's like everyone's gonna pop in that anyway, so it's like you're gonna get away with it, you know.
What do
But
you?
yeah, there's always going to be holes to pick with AEW's like presentation and the
if
way
you-
they present things to you.
If you go back at all these like beatdowns with the women and all that, like the match they have, like for example, I think last week Sky Blue was also an afterthought too. What was happening? So
Mhm.
I mean, these secondary or tertiary characters,
Yeah.
Tertiary.
tertiary, characters don't mean anything to them.
What do you guys think the pay-per-view match is? Like, what do you think they're actually headed to? Because that's why, Charlie brings up the Willow part, and it's like that kind of made me wonder if they're just going to do trios. But it feels like they need some kind of stipulation to go with this, right? It feels like they need some kind of like they've been doing this for so long now. It's been going on for so long.
I think I'm
at this
very
point,
much at the I'll let it play out,
Barbed wire
whatever part
Yeah.
part of this feud now. It's just kind of is what it is. But anyway,
Mhm.
House of Black promo, which we was talking about earlier. They've got the new side plates, and they've done a promo kind of announcing that they're going to be doing an open house challenge, and these trios matches for the trio titles are going to have a different set of rules. So, from my understanding, they're going to be 20-second countouts. So that's like Ring of Honor countouts and New Japan countouts, the longer countouts. There'll be no rope breaks, and apparently the challenger gets to decide if it's a DQ or not. I think.
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's So obviously unique, slightly, enough. It's unique, but in a way that it's not going to be anything crazy that we haven't seen before. It's not going to be like bizarre. It'll be. I'm sure they'll think of ways. Malachi he's a law guy, and he's going to think of ways to make this synonymous with House of Black, I'd assume. So we'll see, man. We'll see how this goes, and. We got the Trios Battle Royal already following this, and the Acclaimed with Billy Gunn was the winners of this, so they're going to be the first House Rules challengers, I believe, and we'll get that like next week or the week after or something, maybe even a pay-per-view. Who knows, bro? Yeah, man. One thing about this Trios Battle Royal, Billy Gunn, being as big as he is, always is quite the visual for me on AEW TV. It makes you realise like how I don't want to say how short the roster is, but like when WWE has been known for so many years, it's like the land of the giants, and it kind of that reputation kind of calmed down a bit in recent years. But like in reality, it still is kind of a land of big buds, and Billy Gunn. In WWE, wouldn't seem like the biggest. Yeah, he wouldn't seem like the biggest guy in the world. And in AEW, in the Trios Battle Royal, he's like he's huge. He looks massive in there.
Yeah.
I didn't think the Trios Battle Royal was very good, to be honest. I don't think AEW is very good at Battle Royals. I don't know if they've ever done a good one. Yeah, man, I very much prefer when Manny was talking through. It was a very simple idea as well. It was like just do a fucking 4-team tournament instead over the next 2 episodes of TV. Very easy. That definitely seems like it would have been a better option, but obviously hindsight is hindsight's a bliss. So, what did you think of this whole deal with the house rules and the Acclaim being first challengers and the Trios Battle Royal in general?
Well, Monty, hindsight wouldn't be 50-50 if I was in the room. I would just put it on the spot.
I'm always fascinated by the combination of Tony like both loving battle royals and also the fact that, as Monty mentioned, most of them are bad. Always intrigues me that like pairing. The problem with this too was the lineup was very funny on paper, and sometimes you can't get around that. Like you looked at those bunch of trios, like, well, I don't know if we need to be watching this right now. I will say I was surprised by the way the Lucha Bros and Vikingo were kind of dumped out. I know they were doing it. They did it in a way to set up Friday's match, right? With QTV, I believe, right, was the deal there. But I thought they actually had a chance to win the damn thing. So I was a mile off on that front. But yeah, it wasn't very good. If he must book battle royals on TV at the rate he recently has, and has for the last couple of years, I think that would be saying that would be a perfect fit for the new version of Rampage. And make of that what you will, folks, because putting this thing out there at the halfway point of Dynamite, like you saw that crowd, like those the first kind of half of these battle royals are a slog. The way they produce them, there's no set pieces, there's no nothing to keep the people engaged. It's a tough one. Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, it's just not very good. Not much to kind of sink into.
Yeah, I thought it was brutal.
Really brutal.
Brutal.
Star
It's
rating.
you know what it is? It's
I tapped out of it. I was not tuned in
Star
for like the
rating.
last 4 minutes.
Go on, Charlie,
Yeah.
Monty's about to do a star rating. Look
A
at this.
star rating for an AEW Battle Royal, bro.
Go on,
Fuck.
go on, dude. Just for the people, go on. Go on, Monty. Go on.
Like 1.75 or some shit.
Oh, that's not too bad. Yeah.
Alright.
I went 2. So,
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
We're in the same.
2 from
we're in the
Hooper
same.
is like a -1.
You see how disgusted he looked in you then, man,
Yeah.
Joe? Man, he just looked at you like this piece of shit, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, I was shocked too when they just threw out the Lucha Bros and it can't go like that.
That was pretty wild.
I was like, come on, man, these are like the best guys in here, and you just threw them out. We didn't even get a Pentagon, like Cero Miedo, freaking.
With no zero mirror, that's disgraceful, you know?
Just give the people what they want, give them the money's worth. You fly them out from Mexico, might as well let them do the little gimmick thing.
Yeah, man.
Or California. I think it's California.
Charlie, you got anything you want to add to the trios business, or we good?
No. I didn't really watch much of the match.
I mean, yeah.
It happened.
Yeah, it certainly did. So next up, we had an MJF and Sammy Guevara promo with Renee backstage, and they were doing more of their like best friends lore. There was a time in the promo which kind of planted the seeds that was going to happen later, where they were chumming up, and MJF was like, "And yeah, you're going to go lie down like a little bitch," and he stopped himself, and Sammy was like, "What?" and MJF wanted to kind of like deflect it, and they kissed.
I'm
The
sorry.
kiss.
I know that it's not the most popular thing on this show, but I think this stuff's like really fun. I'm not even saying it's like box office, mate, but I think they're making the most of this. I think this dynamic's been a lot of fun. I think it's been good TV, and Max was, I thought, really good in these segments this week, like genuinely.
He's
Couple
an
weeks ago,
entertaining character, man.
I was positive on the start of this, and I got quite the dismissal from my co-host on the screen right now. So I just wanted to make clear that I was not undeterred. I think it's been good, and I'll let everyone else explain why it has not been from this point forward. Go ahead, folks.
Joe's setting us up like some real haters, brother. That's,
Well,
I am a real hater.
Exactly. Charlie's and look at Manny's eyes are racing. I mean, there's a lot going on here. I genuinely enjoyed this dynamic quite a bit, but
I mean, I didn't hate it or anything. I just, MJF's doing his character stuff with Sammy, and his stuff is getting over, and they're trying to they're being overt with the chubby stuff, and it's obviously on purpose. And again, it's entertaining segments, and people like them. So it is what it is. It moves stuff forward, and like I said, it planted kind of the seed of doubt.
Yeah, one is on board, folks.
I just think
I'm just being a professional,
I just think younger Sammy would be disappointed in older Sammy and his choices. That's all I think.
Charlie, I bet you loved this, didn't you, mate?
I thought I appreciate that they're doing something different with their characters, and they're trying to like be out of the box with it, and it's not just MJF cutting the same shitty promos every week. I enjoy that aspect of it. But Sammy and MJF on screen together is literal nightmare fuel for me. It is not. It's not for me in the slightest. And like, I can acknowledge that not everything's booked for me. Like, but yeah, no. I think they can be funny at times, but I'm
Not
more
for
than
you,
happy
that's
for
not-
this to.
Yeah.
MJF,
Just yeah.
him wearing the like ridiculous Sammy shirt where he's looking in a mirror.
Oh.
Max wearing that. I'm sorry, folks. That was enough for me. At one. At that point, I said, I'm in on this deal. Again, I get that it's not like it doesn't have like the gravity or prestige of like this epic world title build, but ultimately, with the pieces at play here, I thought they did a good job of being entertaining last night, and I thought it set up the main event really well, which we'll obviously get to. But I like this stuff. I get it, not for everyone for sure.
Yeah, it's just one of them, Next up, we had a Kenny Omega.
Can we go back to the Battle Royal real quick?
Do we have to?
I forgot to bring this up. You guys know how long that match went?
I don't want to. I don't need to know.
I don't know. Actually, go and tell me. It's interesting.
I thought that match was like 15 minutes, but it ended up just being 9 minutes.
Wow. It was only 9 minutes.
Did it drag for you, man?
Then he gave it 2 stars, bro.
Yeah, man,
Decent little match, bro.
Yeah, all right. Next up, Kenny Omega and Don Callis got a promo. Kenny was very kind of like, I think they were going for like a serious tone, and Kenny was talking very like with a certain cadence, And my favorite part of this segment was Don Callis. Like, look what you did to me, that was my favorite part of the promo. It's not exactly I didn't think it was the most memorable Kenny Omega promo, to say the least. Charlie, you're the big elite fan, What did you think of Don Callis' art? And obviously Kenny Omega, he did his thing with his promo as well, and he got his message across, I guess, And
Don Callis pointing out like the fuck off scar on his forehead. It popped me. I thought that was kind of funny. It's like, look what you did. It's like, yeah, no. It's like, I get that that wasn't meant to happen, but like that happening has been great for this feud.
Of course, 100%. Happy accident.
Where the hell were the Young Bucks? Like, that's my main issue with this. Where the fuck were the Young Bucks? Like,
looking for
this,
Heyman.
it was meant to be we hear from the elite, and we heard from Don Callis. I don't know what you said, so don't repeat it. I'm gonna let that slide.
It wasn't even that bad. It was quite tame to the Hooper,
It was just funny.
Spiteful. Probably spiteful.
It was very kayfabe,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought it was a good promo. It did surprise me that it wasn't an in-ring segment, but I don't know, maybe it's part of the storyline.
Oh, it's fair to think that, isn't it? Because of the way it was advertised, it's like we'll hear from the elite, and it felt like we're getting a segment, And obviously, it's not crazy to assume that the elite are going to get a segment in like an in-ring segment in All Elite Wrestling. So it kind of caught me off as well, but we got what we got, and good old Don popped me. Manny, Joe, you got anything you want to add? We'll move on.
I think Don is an incredible promo. I thought he was awesome here. Kenny, I think, was, and I don't know if he nailed it necessarily, but I think he was absolutely trying to portray like a certain, kind of an uncertainty. Feels like there's a twist in the tower head regarding Don here, right?
Oh yeah.
Feels like that may be the finish next week. And I think that was what Kenny was kind of going for with his delivery. But Callis cut a great promo. He probably doesn't come up enough when we talk about the best promos on this show, actually. When Dom really wants to, he can really cut a promo. Promo. Yeah. He did that here.
He can lock you. He can sell a match, brother. He can sell a match. Because at the end of the day, the old fucks.
Yeah.
If you class me as one of them, fair enough. That is the purpose of a promo, to sell a fucking match or sell a feud. And that is, like, people can come out and they can do the great deliveries and they can do the wink wink and they can pop the crowd with the oohs and the ahs when they drop when they do their digs or whatever the fuck, or the back and forth. But gotta sell the match, brother. Get me fired up for the pay-per-view, and Don Callis, knows how to talk you into the building, brother, Right, next up we had a Wardlow. We had the Wardlow part of the show. Charlie's already sighing, which is not a good sign. Our TNT champion, Wardlow, he comes out flanked by Arn Anderson, one of the best to ever do it. Big fucking Arn. And he comes out and he squashes a local talent, I believe it was. He killed a guy, and then he said that he's still got, he's barely broke a sweat, which popped me because he was clearly out of breath. He was... Then I come on timeline, like, the next day it was. I see, like, Manny's tweeted it, but pointing out the exact same thing. But yeah, Wardlow said he hadn't broke a sweat and he's still ready, and he called out, like, Christian and Luchasaurus, and, he did. Christian's music hits and he comes out and he cuts a heel promo, he slanders the local people. He says that he ain't getting the match tonight and the title shot won't be for Luchasaurus, it's going to be for him. And, Christian got that heel delivery, bro. He knows how to get the booze, man. He knows how to get some heat. But that being said, Wardlow going back to the squashes with the TNT title. We'll see. I don't know, man. Project Wardlow. Even when you throw on in there, like, you've got me along for the ride, Tony, for now. But I have my skepticism, Has anyone got anything they'd like to add to the Wardlow part? You know,
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just unfortunate.
Like, genuinely somewhat frustrated my own disinterest in Wardlow. Like, folks, I try my best to be like objective as I can be when talking about something like professional wrestling on these shows, but like I just genuinely don't care where he's at this point. And like I just would like Christian Cage to beat him. And I don't think that's necessary. I mean, some of that is like I don't think he's particularly interesting. A lot of that is obviously the year he's had. But I don't know. I'm just not in like we've gone back to this too. You know? It's just not for me at all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very depressing part of the podcast. If that's me.
I didn't even know that. This is the first time I left during this segment, or this was happening. And then Monty texted me saying, he texted me something about like this is art or whatever. And I said, what happened? And he said, like it was just a Wardlow or whatever. And he said, well, he challenged Christian. And I said, oh, okay, that sounds pretty good. That was like my only. So Monty was recapping me. What the show was like.
I will say, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Wardlow's going to probably win, but after not wrestling often for as long as he hasn't wrestled like regularly, Christian having like a TV title reign would be such a hoot. Like just like 3 months of him working for all the baby faces on the roster, it could be tremendous. So,
oh yeah, it'd be good.
Hopefully we get that.
Yeah, and he would 100% build himself up to the point where it really feels like it's important when someone beats you. Christian might be the man to say to TNT title, people.
Yeah, I was about to say the title
hilarious.
Joe and Darby saved that belt 3 months ago. Died again. It's unfortunate.
Right.
Just stop putting it on Wardlow, please.
This will lighten up the mood, though.
Yes.
The next segment was Briscoes, Team Jarrett at the farm.
Finally, some real music.
Jay Lethal and Team Jarrett and the boys, Satnam included. They the surprise Mark at the farm, going to visit him, and Mark's got his kids. He's very unsuspecting. Don't know what's going on. He's very taken back, and they just came to come bond and see the fam, and help out and do the little thing. And they're doing these skits where it's just like this sitcom level, just like montage of them just being on the farm in the overalls and in the fucking, just fucking around, Satnam with the baby. And just like, it was really funny shit. He got a great reaction online as well. There was a part where Papa Briscoe is talking to Mark and he's like, you got to watch them. And he's like, which one? He's like, all of them. Like, he's like, Jay's all right, but those others, brother, like, you got to watch them. This was a really fun segment, yeah, that's kind of all I've got to say about it, really. I don't know if you guys got anything that want to add.
It was one of my favorite things in the show, genuinely.
Yeah.
This segment resonated with me.
Did it?
Yeah, resonated is crazy.
It was like Mark reminded me of my uncle when like he said that when the branches when they said that we already filled up 3 trucks of me, so there's still more to fill up. That was like when the one time my uncle said, when I told him we're done digging this ditch, right? And he said, no, we still got a couple more ditches to dig. That was like we're working on his ranch, and I said, oh fuck, man, I can't do this work.
I love go on, man.
No, honestly, that's the only thing that resonated with me.
I love Jarrett's like My World like polo shirt that he was wearing. Put me huge because it didn't really make sense for what he was doing, but he just wanted to plug his podcast in t-shirt form, and this was the best shot he had. So it was tremendous. This was actually this was very TNA, and I mean that in this one particular context as a positive. This was a very TNA comedy skit, and that was something they generally did a good job of. And Jarrett, obviously that explains that, but it's good shit. I think a few people fantasy booked this deal, right? Jeff at the farm and stuff, but they nailed it. It was really fun. It took up 2 minutes of the show, and he got a whole lot of buzz for this deal, and it's good stuff. I liked it.
It was so good.
I
enjoyed it a lot.
That was funny too when Jeff Jarrett says, "You have a cute daughter," and he says, "It's a boy."
That was tremendous. Yeah,
just the visual of Satnam holding the baby was so
it was certainly something. It was good treatment.
Satnam was incredible. Just his body language.
The overall, it was so.
Did you see his like? Did you see Satnam's little run away when Papa Briscoe came?
Good shit. Oh.
Yeah, and they also obviously they did say that they're going to be going after the tag team titles versus FTR at some point because obviously Jeff and Jay have already beat Dax and Cash in singles competition, so obviously that's how they've built towards that. And we'll just see how this keeps playing out, but definitely a hit with the segment last night. I think that's fair to say. Next up, we had Ricky Starks versus Juice Robinson singles match. I thought this was pretty decent, man. I thought it was a pretty decent worked match. Both pretty decent wrestlers, pretty good wrestlers to be honest when they're locked in. Juice, I've been quite harsh with in terms of him finding his place in AEW within his current character, like since he's turned heel. So like even not just like the past however long it's been since he turned heel in New Japan and he done the whole contract work the marks brother stuff. I just feel like Juice would have been so much better in his old form in AEW,
Sure.
So like maybe it's just timing and just getting unlucky and stuff. But last night he did come through and have a good match with Ricky. Joe, your thoughts on this Ricky Juice outing?
I really like this quite a bit. I thought Juice, to your point, Monty, Juice is a talented guy, but I think he's been pretty disappointing in AEW, and his performances in ring have been very he's let opportunities come and go, I feel. He was the complete opposite here. He was bumping like a madman for Ricky Starks. I thought he did a hell of a job as a bumping heel, which is exactly the role he needs to play alongside Jay White, right? Whether we like that presentation or not, that's what he needs to do. And I thought he took some outrageous bumps. I like the match a lot. When I say I like it a lot, folks, I'm not saying it's necessarily a 4-star match. It's just, this was exactly what they needed it to be. At this point in the show, as a TV match, developing the feud, I thought they did a really good job. They gelled pretty well, I thought. And I think Ricky and Jay will do the same thing. So, yeah, big thumbs up on this. Hopefully Juice can continue in this vein. Good stuff.
Charlie, you got anything you'd like to add?
No, it's pretty
Manny's
much. I
ran
enjoyed
off.
the match. Everybody's disappeared.
Manny heard Ricky Starks and was like, not today.
Yeah. No, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Had a good time with it. I'm excited to see what Bullet Club Gold does next.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So next up we had so this is what Manny was doing. He was doing outfit changes, the great podcaster. I'm just gonna keep moving. We had a backstage segment with Jungle Boy and Darby. They're getting ready for the main event Pillars tag match. It's about to happen, and they're like, "Yeah, we're ready." And Darby leaves the locker room first, and as Darby leaves, MJF sneaks into the room, and he's talking to Jungle Boy, and he's saying like, he's just trying to get in his head basically, and he's trying to say to him that he's not champion material, and he's trying to get him to play ball, and it's just and Jungle Boy, of course, he isn't listening, he isn't having it, and he basically tells him to get the fuck out of his face, But as MJF is leaving, Darby catches him talking, so Darby obviously gets suspicious, and within Darby's character, he's very suspicious anyway, and he's not a very trusting person as it is, and that kind of sets a bit of tension between those two before the match. And then, going into the match, we had the 4 Pillars tag match, which was, of course, Sammy and Guevara and MJF, the best of friends, and versus Darby Allin and Jungle Boy, who was supposedly having a bit of trust issues going into the match. I thought the main event was really good, to be honest. I thought it was kind of as expected, I expected it to be good, and it was good. I expected the winners to be who they were, and they were. I kind of expected the Sammy and MJF thing to kind of all fall apart in that match, and it did, and they've done it pretty well. It was a good main event, and they achieved what they needed to achieve, again, like they did with many things throughout this show with the Pillars stuff. So, yeah, man, and that, of course, sets up the main event of Double or Nothing, which will be the Pillars 4-way, MJF versus Darby versus Sammy versus Jungle Boy. Good stuff. It was good stuff, Charlie, your thoughts on the main event and the general roundup of the stuff that they did with the Pillars yesterday?
I thought it was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed the match. I didn't know whether I would or not, just because of my personal biases. There's a couple of people in this feud that I'm not too hot on. obviously. But no, I thought it was really good. I thought the way they did the Sammy and MJF split like in the match was pretty good as well. Yeah, I'm excited for the Double or Nothing match. I'm interested to see what dynamics play out in there and how they fill in like the last couple of weeks before the pay-per-view. But I think it's going to be good. They've done a good job retconning that 1 week that was.
Yeah, that 1 week where Ibu got the shit kicked out of him because he curses things, man. We've talked about it many times on these podcasts, but he curses things. He says something good, and the next week they'll shit the bed with that exact fucking storyline, you know. But yeah, it was pretty good stuff. Manny, did you manage to catch up? Because I know you was in and out of the show at the second half, but did you catch the main event and what did you think of it?
Yes, I actually watched it before the show.
Okay. Fresh in the mind.
Yeah, my favorite spot of the match was just Jungle Boy dives that led to the Darby murder dive, and then led to Jungle Boy murdering Sammy Guevara with the murder driver 99, which scared Taz. Like
yes, it did. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know, man. The best part of this match was the review I read on Cage Match, where I kept calling Jungle Boy Jack Barry, and it kept referring to Tony Khan as the Builder. After I read the review and he gave it a 10, I said I need to watch this match when I wake up, and I ended up watching an hour before the show. So
that's how Manny's day is gone. You know, he's good shit. Go dig out Manny's Cage Match review if you can find it. Someone screenshot that. Oh, it wasn't you. I thought you said you went to Cage Match.
No, I'll read you the name I screenshot.
Oh no, I don't think we need all that.
No, I'm not gonna read it. I thought MJF.
That's what you said.
Manny said, "I'll read you the name." No, I'm not gonna read it.
No, because he said that I made it. I didn't make it. The user's name was, which I think was MJF, the devil himself. You know?
That would be good art.
Bro, if MJF calls Tony Khan the Builder, that would be fucking awesome.
Good shit. But yeah, to to even like Charlie and a bit of like Manny's point, it's kind of like I think they've done well of like course correcting it, and they've got. I kind of struggle with it a little bit, being like the main event feud. Like it doesn't feel like it. It just doesn't.
I just think it got. I don't disagree with that at all, Monty. I just think it got a lot close this week, genuinely. I think the pre-match stuff helped to add some intrigue, and I thought the match itself proved to be like. Because ultimately, the key with this whole thing is get them in the ring, right? I think we all agree the 4-way at the pay-per-view is going to be awesome. It's just the build is the concern. So this tag allowed you to kind of preview that and use that strength to your advantage. And I think they came out of this feeling a lot more like a main event than they went in. They maybe still aren't the whole way there, but I think they're a lot closer now. I thought this was really well done. I thought everyone looked good. I thought the crowd's response to the match was encouraging. This was not an electric crowd, and they were with this one, right? And they were into the baby faces in particular. So a lot to like here. I thought it was a good week for the Pillars angle, and I've been someone who's been, relatively down on it overall. So a positive, kind of week for me in terms of building the pay-per-view. Not necessarily a home run show or a great show in a vacuum. That's not really the purpose, right? We're getting close to Double or Nothing now. And on that front, I thought it was very, very successful. So, yeah, thumbs up on my end.
Yeah, man, it was they achieved what they needed to achieve with certain parts of the show, and there were certain dull points in the show. I thought
the middle was. The middle was there was definitely a little stretch there where there's not a lot of interest going on, right? Fair to say.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, AEW, they've got a new what's Will's title, bro? I don't feel like I'm the only one who keeps forgetting it. He's got some fancy title, and then Will Washington, he's
something coordinator.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's Will Washington joins AEW as AEW Administration Coordinator. working in many areas of wrestling, live events, social media, creative, PR. He has a great wrestling mind, and he's here backstage tonight. That was a tweet from Tony Khan. For those that don't already know, I'm sure most, especially the viewers of these podcasts, know exactly who Will Washington is. But for those that don't, he was a podcaster in this space for a very long time. He was also part of Fightful. He had a few successful podcasts on the Fightful channel. He's always kind of been as insightful as he can and giving his takes on the timeline and stuff like that. Some people may also know that he's related to Swerve as well. And yeah, man, he's got this opportunity. Obviously, him and Tony Khan must have, been in contact in leading up to this and got pretty friendly and just kind of talking about wrestling or however this came about. But either way, he's got a fantastic opportunity to touch on a lot of areas, which are things that have definitely been areas of debate and things that we've even debated on this podcast. So we'll see if he has a positive impact. Of course, he's had to leave Fightful. There was a few people claiming, Fightful are shills, and it's like, bro, of course he's left Fightful to, you know what I mean? And but yeah, it was also noted because Sean did Sean on Fightful Select did kind of like a report, like following up with it, kind of, and he says, like, even though it was pretty obvious to most, he said that we should note that he is contractually prohibited from contributing news, as that would be a conflict of interest. So obviously he isn't going to be sliding Sean, scoops under the table and stuff like that. And yeah, man, he's going to be working directly with Tony Khan. He'll also be contributing to live events, social media, PR. The deal was official on Thursday, April 27, just ahead of his last DAD podcast on the Fightful show. And it's kind of a weird thing for a few of us because he's not like my fucking best mate or even like a friend that I really know personally, but he's definitely someone that I have respect for and I get on with in the space, and we've spoken on multiple occasions and stuff like that. And now he's in the spotlight for the past few days, and he's got himself like a pretty important role within a company that I watch and review. And but hopefully, he's obviously it'll come with his criticisms as well. Like we've already mentioned a couple of them, like him just coming from Fightful just off the bat, and he's not someone who's like got this massive experience of 10 years in the business and doing events and that. And some people will turn their nose up at it because of course people will always be skeptical with these sort of hirings. Even if he did have experience, people will be skeptical of something else. So I'm sure there'll be some weird opinions about it. But there's been so much support for him, which has been very nice to see as well. Yeah. And I'm sure that the most majority of AEW fans and also just friends and followers of his will be wishing it all turns out for the best. It's definitely an interesting hiring, to say the least,
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think anyone who's ever watched Will, right, let alone done a show with him, you can vouch for like his mind for the business in terms of his like knowledge of details is fucking insane. Like genuinely, he can vouch for shit and when stuff happened and where it happened. Like unlike anyone else I've ever spoke to about wrestling. So, he's certainly more than qualified in terms of his knowledge of the industry, and certainly smart enough. And hopefully it works out. I think everyone's rooting for him because Will's good people. Absolutely, good for him, man.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll also be super interesting to see like how heavy-handed he can be, and see like where can we like as fans as the outside now being like, oh, that looks like a Will quirk, or you know what I mean? It's like I said yesterday, like on the timeline yesterday, even though it was obviously it would be a bit absurd, but people are like, oh, Shida, that's Will Washington, and it'll be interesting to see little things like that. I do kind of worry about the Swerve dynamic a bit, because like. It's just like people will just, in bad faith, do that kind of connection. It's like because Swerve does seem like they are heating him up to have a big push eventually, whether it comes this year or whether it comes down the line. But it definitely seems like someone that Tony Khan has always been pretty interested in and is lining up for the, like a future big push. So now, obviously, with Will involved, and of course him, working directly with Tony, having some word on creative, blah 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 blah. He Swerve does eventually, in the next few months, go into title feuds and stuff like that. you already know the sort of bad faith that's going to come from that, which will be very unfortunate because, of course, Swerve is someone that a lot of people like and have already wanted to see in those sort of positions. So there's that side of it as well. But yeah, obviously it's quite, it's like I said, it's kind of weird because like we kind of know Will, we know of him and we spoke to him and stuff like that in the past. So it's always been, it's kind of a weird subject. That's why we were kind of like briefly only touched on it yesterday when we was live. But it is news at the end of the day, and it is, we got a fucking All Elite graphic and a tweet from Tony Khan. So it's absolutely news that is like worth us, like getting into because it is. You'd assume it is actually going to have some changes. It's going to have some effect on the company and hopefully some positive changes, And like I said, we all here are wishing him the best of luck. So let's see how it plays out, Yeah. Let's see how it plays out. All right, so that's my ramble on that. And right, let's do some super chats and get out of here because we're at 30 minutes past. Right, I'm going to fly through these. Simeon, you are a legend, my friend. You have sent us quite a few, so I'm going to go through those first. We're going to do the Simeon thread right here, people. All right, £2. Jay White came from New Japan, not Tesco. TK, fix it for fuck's sake. Simeon might just be like more burner.
It's just you.
Just sending a bunch of money in to get some more. £2 again. Also, Jay White was dripping last night. Ricky and shit. It's a bit quite spiteful. Another £2. Late summer Blackpool Combat Club stomp out Danielson, Black and Blue. I mean, I think that could definitely. I think that's something that might be in the works. To be honest, so we'll see. We'll see. The big turn on Danielson. I could see that happening one day. Simeon again, £2 of course. Josh Barnett is too busy planning to fuck up Nakajima. Told you, bro. He's busy man in Japan, man.
Yeah.
Busy man in Japan. It did pop me very much. Another £2. If we get a battle royal at Wembley, angry face.
We absolutely will get one.
Just don't jinx it. Can we just not?
There will be.
It will. Yeah. It's gonna happen.
There's going to be so many people who want to be on the card that Tony's not going to have the heart to tell them no.
Brit Rest Battle Royal.
Yeah, he's going to Progress or a pro show and just be like, who can I book for this Battle Royal?
Yeah, just come on. Let's stop it. Stop jinxing. Again, £2. Walmart Wardlow needs fixing. Christian is great. You are absolutely spot on. And another £2. Despite ratings, main event equals great preview for pay-per-view. Yeah, man. Like I said, they achieve what they need to do, and despite the rating, I guess the ones that to be honest with the rating, it's like the number. I think it was like 776. The viewership number was, and that is very striking. But from a demo point of view, which is kind of anyone who's kind of watched these podcasts when I've talked about ratings, that's kind of been like the number that I actually give a fuck about is the demo.
Yeah.
And they drew a 0.28, which is pretty normal for them these days. Yeah. Is that great? No, is it great that they've settled into 0.28 being pretty normal for them? No, it's not. But in comparison to what they've been doing lately, it's a pretty normal number. Like I said, I understand how the 776 can, as a viewership number, can look very striking. Like AEW dropping into the sevens, that can look very striking. I understand that, but I don't think it's anything to be too worried about, to be honest, if you're AEW. But again, if they can hold the 0.28 to 0.31 range until Punk comes back, I think, and until Punk comes back and all the other things that we've discussed as well, and really get the ball rolling. Hopefully they can slowly climb, and that 0.31 will turn into a 0.34, 0.36, 0.3 out, and maybe we'll get to the promised land of the 0.4s again. Because as a fucking nerd, that absolutely popped me, because it's when Raw was on the downtrend as well, so they were in like the 0.48, 0.45 range to 0.5 range, And AEW were like, it really felt like at one point, I think in 2021, like AEW was legitimately on a demo, on a demo thing in that period when they were really hot. Felt like they were kind of, they were really closing the gap, and now it's like they feel a million miles away.
It's the first graph is like crazy to look at. Like,
genuinely.
It's easy when you're going week to week, which a lot of us do because frankly, like, unless you're following it closely, that's what you kind of naturally do. You can lose perspective on how close they got and how far they now are. But like, it is what it is, right? I mean, ultimately, it's like I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But if you look at that, you'll quickly it quickly tells the tale for sure.
100%, and it's why us fucking like nerds like myself, I always talk for myself. We'll always when we talk about the ratings and have actual conversations about it, like, we'll always talk about the year on year, you know, because that's really where like you can see like the patterns and growth and stuff. And when Thurston, who's great at this shit, like uploads his graphs of whether that's viewership, demos, fucking the amount of houses that the show's in, and so like Thurston's great. If you don't follow him, which I'm sure a lot of you already do, and you actually give a shit about this nerdy stuff, then he's like one of the best followers you can get. Thurston and WrestleTix. If you like your wrestling numbers, get following up.
I saw that this week last year they did a 0.32, and when I read that, I was like, "That's not that big." And that was the show that was main evented by Deonna and Mercedes, which was like one of those kind of like Tony just kind of threw that as a main event, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's definitely interesting to look at. I mean, it's like I'm not breaking news when I say they would absolutely like to be trending in a different direction. But I always, we always stress this because I think there's so many people that go the other way. We're all aware like they're going to be fine. They're going to get a real good TV deal. They might already have the TV deal, honestly.
It seems like the moment.
So like obviously they're doing fine. The trend is not the best, but we'll see what happens over the summer. The summer's going to be big in one way or another sense. So,
big few months. Like we said it in the podcast a few weeks ago that these next few months are going to be huge for him, man. And that's definitely not changing. A huge few months for Tony, and he's got a few things to get right. And if he plays his cards right and he's careful with it and he does the right stuff, and as I said earlier in the podcast, I think they can genuinely come out of the summer feeling like really strong and hot again. But there's a lot of intricate, difficult, careful things he needs to maneuver around to get to that point first. And I'm sure he will stumble at some of the hurdles, and I'm sure he'll leap over them and surprise some of us with some cool shit as well. But it'll be interesting in what conversations we'll be having in 3-4 months' time, by the end of the summer. So interesting months ahead. But yeah, let's wrap up and catch the last bit of Ring of Honor, people, where the real wrestling lives.
That's very kind, isn't
it? And one star win $5. You all are amazing. We appreciate you so much, and thank you so much for the nice comments. Good people.
Stroking my ego.
WrestlePurists Claude, talk about net ratings, mate, not overall.
This is my favorite bit, I think.
It's good shit.
Yeah, it's tremendous stuff.
Wait, never mind.
Yeah, we'll explain after, man.
Yeah.
Man, let's wrap up. Joe, have you got anything to plug between yesterday and now?
All I want to say is on Monday on WrestlePurists.com, the first entry of my weekly match card will drop. Now, this was previously Manny the Hooper's Tour of the World, I believe it was titled. And our respect for Manny, who's one of my great friends, my introduction has some room for Manny's final comments. And Manny, I think you can confirm these are quite touching words that you sign off on. Fair to say. Yeah. So, check in for that. Going to be reviewing, different matches. Not necessarily the best matches of the week. It's more the matches that I've chose to focus on so that we have range. So it's not just me going in circles, So it'll be pretty fun, I think, no matter what promotion you prefer. I think there'll be some good stuff in there if you're into that kind of thing. But that's the main thing, Monty. Pleasure as always, mate. It was a good time.
Yeah, man. Manny, do you got anything you want to plug or anything you're going to be tweeting about little pop people or bare knuckle? Anything at all?
Yes, I'll be covering bare knuckle fighting and one for WrestlePurists tomorrow. Or just for myself. I'll just have the WrestlePurists.
For myself. I'll be covering it for myself. That's good shit. We like it. Charlie, she's now she's a t-shirt designer. She uploaded the design of a t-shirt, which I thought was very cool and very good. And I DM'd her immediately, almost panicked. Like, Charlie, someone's going to steal this idea off you. I almost felt like telling her to delete it,
It's
But,
such a. I did not expect that tweet to like get over 1,000 likes. It was
me and
such
Charlie
a
need
stupid.
to.
thing.
Wait, what?
Me and Charlie need to hurry up and trademark
Mhm.
a certain catchprise,
Yeah.
and we need to make Charlie some money because I think we can. I think we got a T-shirt we could be selling soon, people. You know.
It's
but,
good shit.
yes,
If you haven't
on
seen
top of-
it, just go look at it. It's
Yeah, go to
really
Charlie's
fucking
Twitter, people.
funny.
All right. Okay. Probably we've baited it out too much. You know what I mean? Don't steal our idea. We are. You know.
Yeah. Pan pending.
Don't steal it for Charlie's idea. Okay. Tomorrow, Unpurist. There's going to be an Unpurist podcast this week. Tony Khan keeps trying to fuck us with these Rampage timings, but we're either going to do a pre-show, a post-show, move it to Saturday. We're going to do something. You're going to get the Unpurist people. You're going to get your AO. You're going to get your Marcus. You're going to get your Rob. You're going to get your Chris. You're going to get them tomorrow or some point in the weekend. You know what I mean? We're back. We're not missing 2 weeks because TK don't know what fucking time he wants to fucking put Rampage on. You know.
Monch, I need to say something real quick, man. This Robbie Eagles and Claudio Castagnoli match, man. It is, oh my god, it's.
I'm not surprised, but Robbie Eagles is really good. It really annoys me when Murph slanders him in the group chat because he's not a fan of him. I think Eagles is really good, man.
I think I might right about this, man. Oh my god, this is.
Is it the main event now?
Yeah, it's main event right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's catch the end of this. All right, people. We're going to love and leave you. We appreciate it. Of course, please like the video if you haven't already. We appreciate the 100 plus of you that are still here. Please smash that like button before you get out of here. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And the super chatters, especially Simeon, who's been going crazy today. We appreciate you all very, very, very much. And have a good night, people. Peace.